So anyway, if you look at this chart, the delta between the green and blue lines is where value is. When this AI thing catches up and converges in 2032 is about when it's really going to be converged. Although I would argue it probably is going to happen faster. This is just someone's projections. That value creation delta is getting tighter and tighter. There's a risk of demonetization of everything because everything becomes free. What's left? What's left is human connection, human optimization, and creativity. If AI comes and eats their lunch, the only thing they will have left is who they are.
And so what is that?
What is that?
Welcome, Ernest Chapman.
What's going on, man?
We're good. The first time I have actually used the podcast studio. So this is, I guess, a little special for me.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I mean, I love that we just had a meeting and it was like, well, let's just do the meeting on a podcast because why not? Because we can do it in here.
We're doing it. Welcome. Also, a member of the Music City Work Club.
Yeah.
And you've actually came into the inner sanctum with your own office here. So
yeah,
you're in the belly of the beast.
Yeah. So the brand therapy headquarters is now at Music City Work Club. So if you need brand therapy, you know where to go.
So what is brand therapy?
Brand therapy is aligning the people behind a business to the market.
Okay.
Very simple, but people fall out of alignment very easily because they either have ideas in their head that they think the market wants and they don't really know if the market wants it. So they build something and maybe people want it, maybe they don't. Or they've been doing things for a long time. It's grown stale. It's gotten a little awkward. Maybe there's, leadership changes, things have evolved, or the market shifted. There's a lot of scenarios that can lead to a misalignment. But you want to be aligned because you don't want to be selling the crap out of something that you don't love to get up every day, jumping out of bed and be motivated to be in your business, to a level of spiritual connection. You really want to be all the way. But you also don't want to be doing that to something that no one else cares about, that no one's going to buy. You kind of want both. And I think you can have both.
And that's why you have therapy in the name.
That's why I put therapy in the name. My dad was a therapist. My stepdad was a therapist. My mom is a hit songwriter. So I took the creative and the personal change, personal identity management parts and mixed them. And then I learned how to run businesses and how to do marketing and sales and advertising. And I blended it into this unique blend. And brand therapy is the best way I could describe it. I'm not the only person that does it, but I'm doing it.
Well, this identity thing is, I think, really what I'm leaning more into is my own identity as Robert, the business person, and Bobby, the inner child, higher self version of me. So who is Ernest?
Who is Ernest? Okay. That's a loaded question. How many hours do you have?
We got a meeting for an hour.
We got this for an hour. We can follow up. Maybe can we do lunch in here?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Who is Ernest? Ernest is a reflection of the divine creator through an imperfect lens. Ernest is a child of God. Ernest is a creative wizard who makes mistakes and tries to turn everything into something interesting. That's who Ernest is. And through my life, I've had 3 major periods of alignment. So I've had the first one was as a musician, and the second one was as a music teacher, and the third one is currently as a brand therapist and a marketer, advertiser, and branding guy. But each one of those phases has had multiple layers of connective tissue that have been consistent because, in the business and marketing world, I'm doing creative work constantly, and I'm managing creative people or doing it myself or working with AI increasingly, which is an interesting thing we should probably talk about. But then in the creative world, there was always some kind of business functional executive function overlap. Those things tend to be kind of a Venn diagram, and a lot of people sort of live in these distributions on the extremes. And so I figured that out, and I was like, wow. I remember talking to one of my mentors, one of my favorite people. I don't know if you know Mark Montgomery. We've had this relationship for many years of creative and business overlaps. And we were like, why don't we start a band that gets the corporate gig, but everyone in the band is like a C-level executive. That's also a really good musician.
Yeah, I feel
And
this.
so we get them drunk and they come up on stage and they're doing drunk karaoke, but they're literally surrounded by the people that are going to be in the meeting at 8 a.m. the following morning, and they don't even realize it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's like, surprise.
Whisper into the guy's ears like, hey, is your quarterly report ready for the board presentation? What? And there, But the idea being that creativity and business success go hand in hand.
That's why I want to bring creatives into space. They inspire the entrepreneurs to follow their dreams. And like that thing that gets stuck in your head, I think that's what you're talking about. We have this thing that happens to us, like this aha moment where we're like gifted this idea that we seem to think, because our ego thinks it was our idea, and I don't believe it was. We're just here to execute the thing. I always imagine this group of like beings up there just angry as shit that I haven't executed their idea.
Yeah.
And you're like, I sent this person and this person. And hell, I gave you a book. It's like, why didn't you follow through? But I resonate with the creativity piece and mixing all of those elements to help you actually get through the thing and have it created.
Right.
And it's birthing a baby that the birthing process is ugly.
Right.
It's miserable. And that's why a lot of these starving artists and these authors who torment themselves in the act of creation. Mm-hmm. And I see why the therapy is needed to do it. Because otherwise, I don't know about you, but when you have an idea that you're not, it's not manifesting, it's not working, it's not coming out, it's like you keep having these roadblocks, you just torment yourself until you finally have that moment you're walking in a park and it's like, oh, that's the missing component. Mm-hmm. Now you can make one other step. I could see having someone navigate. What's the process look like when you have someone that has an idea or a brand they already have to work with you?
Well, if it's an idea, I need to know whether or not it's validated with a market before it's a business. Otherwise, it's a really cool hobby, which we can also support that, but it just depends on how much money you want to put into it. You know what I mean? So like there's really there's a fork in the road right away. And the fork in the road is based on the Ikigai chart, IKIGAI. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong, but it's, the four alignments, right? You've got, what is your purpose? So what do you love, right? What are you good at? What are your skills? What does the world need? Or what does the market want? And then what can you get paid for? What will they buy? And when those four things are in alignment, if the top three are in alignment, you love it, you're good at it, and people want it, but no one's buying it, you've got an excellent hobby. Congratulations. If they're buying it or you're making a paycheck, the world needs it, and you're good at it, but you don't love it, congratulations. You have a day job that you are probably planning your exit from. And we want to have all four. So if someone comes to me for brand therapy, the first thing I'm asking is this a big, fun idea? Or is this like a functional business that just needs some tune-ups and some realignments? Because if it's a functional business, then we can actually graduate from brand therapy and help with the marketing and advertising and grow the bottom line. If it's just a cool idea, I shouldn't say just, because there's plenty of cool ideas out there that are maybe they're nonprofits, or maybe they're just like something that's amazing that the world should have. I can support that too. It really depends on what the visionary wants and what are people going to buy.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're really kind of going through the proof of concept.
Yeah.
And then going along the ride until the birthing of the thing, right?
Or it's already been birthed. I mean, I've done brand therapy on existing companies, good sized companies that have been in business for a long time. And that side of the fence is more like, does everyone understand what the vision is and what the mission is that achieves that vision? And are we all on the same page? And, it's that kind of sort of mission, vision, values, core behaviors type, core actions thing, which I'm sure I think you've probably done a lot of that, over the years.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the work I do is around essentially the core values of an organization, but we don't spend a lot of time on the actual branding of that. So, it is definitely something that, we work on I'm an EOS implementer. There's a book that was written many years ago called Traction.
Yeah. I got that in my
And
library.
essentially I help leadership teams with a 2-page document called the Vision Traction Organizer. Where I see there's a lot of alignment in the work that I do is once you get that VTO out and you really understand what is your core focus, really the 10-year vision, this kind of this path, I could see you massaging the messaging and what does that look like to actually communicate what a group of leaders who spent 24 hours in a meeting room over the course of 3 days, over 60 days to actually take that document and go, how do I talk to my employees about this? How do I talk to my vendors about this? And then how do I talk about this to my clients?
Right. So what you just described is going from vision into integration and implementation. And in the branding world, that happens through 5 stages. So the first stage is alignment, which is aligning that vision that you just described with the go-to-market and with the sales strategy and with the capabilities. So capacity and capability building has to be part of it, right? All those things have to go together. If we're checking off the boxes on those alignments and going, all right, we're aligned, we're good, then great. We're aligned, we get into positioning because now we have to think about how this is positioned for the market. What do people think it is? How do they see it against the competition? And we do classic sort of best-in-class standard positioning exercises, get the grid and where's the white space and all those things. Those are sort of normal things you do for positioning. What's your one-liner? What's your tagline? But once the positioning's at least has a clear thesis, if we're not repositioning or, maybe it's a new thing or maybe it's repositioning, whatever it is, positioning, then we have to move to messaging. How does this brand talk? What does it say? When it gets out of bed in the morning, what clothes does it put on is the next phase, and that's aesthetics. So that's the thing where everyone thinks the logo and the color palette is the brand. And I'm going, no, it's not. The logo and the color palette is a subcategory of a subcategory of your brand. Your brand is how people feel when they look at you or think about you. And those feelings have to turn into action so that your brand can power sales and marketing. So all those things have to go together. And I know it may sound like a lot, but when you get it right, it actually becomes much simpler. But we have to kind of hack through all the weeds and cut the grass and get it clean,
And I think a key ingredient, and I'm just guessing, the visionary has got to love it.
If the visionary doesn't love it, there's a danger of burnout, which is going to cause misalignments because they're going to get bored. Oh, you're going to have neurodiverse ADHD executives. This is just a classic problem that have a vision, and then the integrators and implementer operators put it into operation, and then mid-launch or shortly thereafter, the leader has a new idea that doesn't match the other thing. And because the leader is a high-functioning, neurodiverse genius who has maybe some ADHD and some executive functioning issues, probably a little oppositional defiance, probably a little bit of, maybe they have an MTHFR genetic mutation. I've got that. That's the one that
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about.
It sounds like you're describing me too.
I'm talking about psychological profiles that are based on metabolic issues that have to do with that correlate very much to drinking, that correlate to compulsive behavior,
addictions,
and the addictive behavior and personality types that are simultaneously the most successful people in the world and some of the craziest people in the world. And how do we make sure that they don't break their dream?
Yeah.
And we can't always stop them from doing that.
Yeah. This is good.
But if you work on the identity piece and personal development piece as an executive, then all those other things that you've delegated out to that team, you're not pissing them off every day and making them hate you and want to find another job. Then you can really do something.
As you were talking, one of the things that came up for me is we're in an identity crisis here.
We being?
We, Bobby, Scaling Sober, the Music City Work Club,
Oh, okay.
Space 8. We have, I've crafted I have Sweaty Goals.
Sweaty Goals?
Yeah.
That's a cool name. What does that mean?
Yeah.
That sounds like a fitness type thing.
Yeah. So for me, I saw Tony Robbins it's been October 23. And 10 minutes of him on stage, I turned to Rachel, my wife, and I said, I'm going to do what he's doing.
Fantastic.
It's like I was very clear what I wanted. And what I love about Tony Robbins is the way he teaches is the way I can learn. Mm-hmm. I love to move my body. Mm-hmm. Movement and dance is a spiritual experience for me. And he forces people to jump and shout. That energy builds up in me. I get into a state of joy, the ecstatic state. And I love to create in that state. I love to teach in that state. When I'm in that state, people are just tuned into me. I'm in flow and it's magnetic for me to be in that state. And I wanted to create a place where people could be in that ecstatic state without drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
And they can learn through, hey, let's jump up and shout. I'm going to teach you a few things. In the middle of it, we're going to sit down for a little bit, but I get fucking bored to sit here. I'm drawn to go back to my phone because it's a boring subject or my mind is going 1,000 different directions. Let's stand up and dance. And you remember that thing? What'd you learn? I want to hand you the mic and be like, you know what? I learned about da-da-da-da. And we're that's the kind of energy that I want to do in the club. And so Sweaty Goals is an example. What if Tony Robbins taught your fitness class? It was 6 a.m. It was like, we're going to sweat. We're going to do a HIIT workout. But we're also going to talk about doing that hard thing you need to do today in your work day, that uncomfortable conversation you're going to have. Well, I'm also going to make you uncomfortable doing a bunch of squats, and I'm going to do 5 burpees. But this is an example that you're willing to step into the discomfort of the thing that you need to do, the uncomfortable connection that you need to make with someone or face that hard truth and say that to that person, which I'm a people pleaser. I don't like it, but I have to psych myself up to those things. I have my own challenges. But anyway, Sweaty Goals is an example of a period of time that I want to have in the space where you can go to an experience. I look at, because what you just described is me, I'm a visionary with a ton of ideas. But I look at my day is I
did not do that on purpose.
Yeah, I know. But I look at it in the morning, I want to work out, but I want to have fun and I want to be with other people that have goals.
Yeah.
And I want to share each other. And how can I help you with what you want? And I'm here to connect. My unique ability is to help connect you with people that need your services, because you're going to help people.
Right.
I help people through connecting.
Right.
Sometimes I teach, sometimes I facilitate, sometimes I'm a coach, but most of all, I'm a connector of other humans to get what they want.
Mm-hmm. So which parts of that are yes and, which parts are either or in terms of the function of the space, who it attracts? What is a filter versus one of many streams of attraction?
Yeah, good question. I want this place to be a place for visionaries to go work on their dreams.
Wow.
I don't want a co-working club.
Right.
I want a CEO, a visionary who's got a corporate office. He's got an office to go work. But when he's there, guess what happens? He gets nothing done. Because everyone else in the organization is going to him for all the fucking decisions. And he's so covered up with all these decisions and commitments. If he were to make a decision to come work at a place like this 1 day a week, it does a couple things. One, the team will solve it themselves because they need the capacity to make the decision for themselves. And most entrepreneurs, when you are a visionary in your office, they come to you for everything until you figure out how to let go. And the only way to let go is be absent.
Yeah.
Now, be present in a meeting where we're talking about things we're all working on, but be absent when you're not in the meeting, because that absence will create a forcing function for the other leaders of the team to take action. So, where the dilemma I have in this club is it's a co-working club, and I have a bunch of members that are working remotely, and this is a better place than their house. And the model honestly was built on essentially what Switchyards is. I am not a Switchyards, and I don't have anything wrong with Switchyards. I think they're awesome. They're cool and they're hip and neat. And I think we've created a very comforting vibe. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of my 80s. And so it has a lot of sentimental things for me. So I like the vibe of the whole club. Where I'm looking for more alignment is getting visionaries, creators together in a space of creation where we're sharing beautiful ideas together on a podcast. Or maybe we're in a sauna. Maybe we did a workout together. Maybe we hit the cold tub because it's 1 o'clock and I'm tired, but I need to get back to work and I need to do things. We're going to cold tub together. We're getting a 10-person cold tub in here, but I also want a space.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah. But I also want a space where you bump into a wellness provider.
So we're not branding a co-working club. We're branding a culture.
Yeah.
Who's the tribe? Who are those people? Where are they? And there's all these other things, but that's the question. This is a cultural branding play. And there's a tribe that needs to be attracted to the right things.
Yeah.
That overlap a couple of different categories because you're not just a visionary, you're an innovative visionary. This is an innovative thing. I don't know if anyone's done this before quite like this. So there's also one of the challenges that I'm looking at here is you've got innovative product validation has to happen. There's a product here. At the same time that cultural branding has to power it. Because if you don't do the cultural branding and it's not really clear who it's for on that personal, deep identity level, then you could attract the wrong people who get here and then they're like, well, this isn't what I signed up for. I thought this was Switchyards,
Yeah.
Or on the other end of the extreme, well, this isn't what I signed up for. I thought this was the farm. And we're just going to be doing yoga the whole time and, doing regenerative agriculture. Where's the garden? There's no garden.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't like all these business people. I'm not a business person.
Yeah, you're so right.
And there's a Venn diagram. We got to find that bullseye, and then we got to size that market, and then find those people, and it might work.
Yeah,
we don't know.
You know what? You know what? It is working.
Okay.
I will tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm going on. There's been a lot of faith in,
Well, you found me.
Well,
I'm in the bullseye. I'm one of the weirdos that loves business, creativity, meditation, healing,
it's
identity
no accident
modification.
you're sitting in front of me.
This is all meant to be.
Yeah, and
how many of me are there? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, this is something I've tell people. Think of our space during the day.
Yeah.
Is where we're in 3D and we have to be in business and we are living in a capitalist society and we have to create value, and in exchange for the value we get paid money, and we can use that money to pay payroll and expenses, and those things are necessary.
Yeah.
Let's face it, that's reality. But after 5 o'clock, I want this space to transform into a space that I can come here for human connection. And there's no alcohol to fuel a connection. I want the connection to happen from me asking you, Ernest, what are you creating? Well, I'm creating this. Dude, that sounds badass. You got to meet my friend Tom and da-da-da-da-da. And then while we're at it, we're seeing a musician get on stage and pour his heart out in a song that creates emotion in me to remind me of a story that I have locked inside, that I can have a redefinition and re-experience the meaning of an old story I had stuck in my head because you gave me a gift of a song. And that gift unlocks the power in me to be a better leader because I understand myself more. That's why music is powerful. We have old stories that create self-limiting beliefs. And as long as we have that old story rummaging around our head without the videotape to go back and rewind and play again and then see it with meaning. Like if you were to watch, like I don't know how many times I watched Wizard of Oz unconscious, not conscious to the story. Conscious to the story that the story of the yellow brick road is navigating your journey through life, thinking you have something missing. When you gather other people together and realize that, oh, wait a minute, we're not missing anything. It was here the whole time. And the only way it ever came to you is because you did it with other people. And had someone been sitting there with me watching Wizard of Oz and going, Robert, this is what this symbolism means, it would have helped me. But no one was sitting next to me trying to show the symbolic story that was in a story that I was watching. It was just more entertainment. I didn't know it was therapy.
When you're surrounded by a new symbolism, you have to discover the meaning for yourself. And that's part of what I feel like you're doing here. So we need to have that feedback from people that encounter it to be captured really quickly. Hey, what do you think this is?
Yes.
Is it what I think this is?
Yeah.
Do you think this is what I think it is? That's where cultural is the layer. I see cultural as the layer. And what you're describing, this vision, I see event programming. I see, all the things. I mean, obviously integrate that, operate it into, the team of people doing things. What are they doing? Well, they're putting events together, or they're putting jam sessions together, like creative jam sessions. I mean, if you think like the way musicians operate, musicians will get together and write a song and jam and come up with ideas, and 80% of what came out of them just kind of happens and whatever and doesn't get captured, and then just move on. And then 20%, let's then all of a sudden now we're writing a song. Yeah. And then now all of a sudden we're in a band, and then it's like, well, let's make an album, let's just record one song, and then one thing leads to another. Well, we got a gig, and then things happen. How do you have that kind of nonlinear sort of creativity in a business context where you don't just feel like you're walking into some boring cowork, but the fundamental brass tacks of the boring cowork are still strong, so that the bills get paid and everyone's cool? I think that's a really interesting problem. That if you could solve that problem, we could solve that problem here, then a lot of other people are going to want to do it. And culture can be infectious. Culture can move from place to place. Yeah. When something really works, people start going, oh, do you see what they're doing over there? Let's do that over here.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because last night I came home and my wife, we were sitting at dinner, and we do a thing called, good news for today.
That's cool.
What's you do
that every day?
Yeah, every time with the kids, and my wife's talking about, there was a women's group that was coming here yesterday, and she told Jim that she was going to address the women's group and stand and speak. And I was like, what? That's pushing up against her edge, dude.
For her, that's like a challenge.
It's a challenge,
yeah.
And she told Jim she's going to do it, and she led it, and she talked about it, and I was so proud of her. I was just so excited. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that made my whole day. And as we're going to bed, and she was like, I was really struggling talking about the club. And because there's all these, my name is like, I don't know how to say it. And the way you say it. And I said, babe, you need to have your own, this is your club. What does it mean to you in this club? Because everyone will talk about this club in a different way, and you need to tell your story of your own personal growth. It has nothing to do with Robert's club. This is not Robert's club. Mm-hmm. I tell everyone that's a member, I want you to address this as your club. Like, make it your own. Put your love and energy in it, and this club is going to be wildly successful. And what does that mean? That means craft your own event. That means look at who needs a place like this where the fundamental philosophy is we should be doing what we love with those that we love. We should be creating heaven on earth. I believe that hell is a mind state that I can be in, and I've been in hell, and I've created it, and I don't need to be in that anymore. But what I need to do what I love with people I love. And if we can have that common philosophy, that is the core, that is the basics of the whole club. If we can agree on that, then you're welcome. If you want to be here and whine and bitch and be a victim of life, I don't resonate. Not for this space. Yeah. If you want to talk about possibility and vision, and you want to do it with other people, that's why our 3 statements are: see it, design a vision for your life, be the real you. Let's strip the ego. Let's end all the old stories, all the things that have made you small. I don't want anymore. I want to be Bobby, which is my character. That's my superheroic version of myself. So see it, be it, and together. It's real simple. Do it with other people. Because when I am in your space and you're talking about your wild vision for your life, I get so jacked. Like, it is my drug. And it's what feeds me.
You're making me think of something I wrote after the first day I came in here, and I talked to Chase and Jim, and I was brainstorming, and I actually was in the shower, and I just had these ideas, and I grabbed my phone and typed it out. The reason office rentals and co-work spaces feel stale and dead, even if they have nice furniture, is because life is not happening in these spaces. Only work is happening. We've created a space where you can bring your life to work and you can bring your work to life.
Dude.
Life works.
Yeah, I feel that.
And that may not be the name, but I think the positioning there, I feel like there's something there that could be explored, and we could just take that and iterate on it.
And I think that,
but Music City Work Club may not be the name that carries the culture that you're building.
I would 100% agree, and I think it is a process.
Yeah. That
we're navigating. And we're also like, listen, there's a lot of amazing members that I really like being around. Yeah. Now we have a club over in Edge Hill, and there was a woman sitting there. And I tried to go meet people and I tried to introduce myself, and I could not have gotten a colder shoulder. And it was like, why is this man talking to me? I am working. I am focused. And it was the weirdest thing. And then it kind of occurred to me that they signed up to come open up a laptop and work. And how do I make them feel welcome? And or do I decide that is not what we are? Mm-hmm. Or am I the one that should not be introducing myself to people sitting in our space? Maybe I should have waited for the eye contact, or maybe I should have been more conscious that, there was no invitation to have a conversation with me.
Have I shared this chart with you?
No.
Okay. See that green line on top?
Yeah.
And we'll put this, if this ends up on the podcast, we'll put this on the screen. I'll text it to you or whatever. The green line on the top is all human created text. And text could be video because video is code. So think about it as all human created content. Everything humans have created. The blue line is AI catching up. We're in 2026 right here. See that delta between the two lines? That's where value lives. What that lady was doing with her computer open was something I do quite a bit, actually. When I want to do that, I'll go to Switchyard and I'll just hide behind a computer and, be in one of the little rooms or a phone booth, or, I can do it in my office here if I need to just close the door, right? But it's not So check this out. She opens up the computer and she's basically being kind of robotic in her actions because she has a highly tuned, focused objective and has nothing to do with connecting with other humans, right?
Yeah.
You're there as a human, just kind of trying to be a human. And she's like, who the hell are you? By the way, that's the reason why I couldn't live in Boston after a couple of years, because I would try to talk to people on the T and they would look at me like I had two heads. And one day I just realized I'm like the nice guy from Nashville.
You don't belong here.
That does not belong here. You know. So anyway, if you look at this chart, the delta between the green and blue lines is where value is. When this AI thing catches up and converges in 2032 is about when it's really going to be converged. Although I would argue it probably is going to happen faster. This is just someone's projections.
Oh, yeah.
That value creation delta is getting tighter and tighter. And I'm thinking, I've been watching a lot of different podcasts on this from the leading people in AI and like, okay, everyone's going to have their opinion about it. I think if this blue line catches up and we close the delta completely and it converges, there's a risk of demonetization of everything because everything becomes free. And it's the opposite of universal basic income because now nothing costs anything anymore. It's marginal cost-wise, which means services don't have margins anymore and you can't really charge for stuff. And remember one that used to say, oh, learn to code. No, that doesn't matter because you can get code for free. Then it's like, well, learn services and be a plumber and electrician. Well, that's not going to matter because there's going to be 2 billion Optimus Prime robots that can do that for you for the cost of compute and a little bit of electricity. That, you know, one guy with AI is going to take your job and then AI is going to take his job. What's left? What's left is human connection, human optimization, and creativity. And the human creativity on this green line is going to have to come up with something. What's above the green line?
Yeah.
God, spirituality,
Yep,
identity, things we can't
100%.
predict because faith is what powers prayer. And like you were saying earlier, when there's this chaos and it's a mess, you kind of have to have this faith that the vision is going to be planted like a mustard seed, which is a dangerous kind of seed, which actually grows like crazy. Very powerful. But there's this disruptive period where people don't know what we're talking about is real, and they don't know where their value is. And they're trying to build all these scalable things and just business. If AI comes and eats their lunch, the only thing they will have left is who they are.
And
So
what is that?
What is that?
This is so.
Let's build that.
So I'm a huge Dan Sullivan
I love
fan.
him. Yeah.
And if you listen to the 10X he's used in 2X, so that book came about by just podcast recording.
Yeah.
And the interviewer is talking about how AIs come in and how he's using AI. And Dan Sullivan said, well, this is the same thing that's already happened. Because when the personal computer came out in the 80s, everybody come to me in the same question. And I said to them, I don't use a computer. I have someone that does that.
What year was this?
This is in the 80s.
Okay.
And so it was that moment that clicked for me because I've been in front of my laptop for 35 years in front of this computer, right? And think of all the hours. And I think this club is uniquely positioned to be a place that you can close the laptop because AI is going to do all that bullshit. I need to connect with other humans. And maybe I think a large percentage of the population need to learn that.
Relearn. And yeah, I'll tell you, we're early on this in terms of what people are aware of, but we're late in terms of what tech is doing. And that's an awkward place to be. And I think that awkwardness can drive acquisition if it's positioned right.
Yes.
Does
Dude,
that make sense?
this was good. To settle this up, to close it all out, I see I'm a bridge,
Yeah.
right? And understand what my role is I want to get visionaries of organizations that have 10 or more employees inside the club
Okay.
who want to go 10X And 10X, what that means in terms of my definition of 10X is you becoming you.
You becoming you.
Yes. I want to sell you.
What if I don't know who I am?
Then there's a process for that. And I think that process looks like a lot of being in this space and hearing stories of other people. I'm not here to tell you what your path is. I don't have any insight. I'm not your guru, but I will ask you some deeper questions. Like, what's something you did when you were 7 that you don't do today? And I think we all have that thing, and that's a good path. Rediscover whatever that is, but the answers are within. I don't have any answers. I have a lot of questions, and I want to have people around me that are asking questions that I am not asking. Mm-hmm. And that's how we discover who we are.
What would you say to somebody who sees all this, but there's a line that they haven't yet crossed inside of themselves where it feels safe to be vulnerable and to grow in these ways? And maybe they're thinking, well, I don't want to do a workout and be challenged at 6 a.m. because I just got too much stuff to do. And I don't know if I want to do all this. I just want to knock out my meetings and then clock out. But actually they're perfect for it. They just haven't quite, there's some resistance in their heart, and they're so smart that they're going to come up with the right language to convince themselves that this is stupid.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person? And that person is a successful entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, dude. And what
do you say to them?
Listen, I would say to them, in that moment where you have that built up anxiety or something don't feel right, and maybe you deal with it by grabbing a drink, and you could say, well, you've had a stressful day. You could also say you've had a successful day. Like, I used alcohol was a success. I would drink. Stress, I would drink.
There's always a good reason.
Yeah, it's always a good reason. I'm tired, whatever the reason, and I am for that person who says, maybe I need to look at why I'm doing that, and to ask a deeper question. Am I fulfilling the mission that I was brought here to do? Unfortunately, we don't get a manual. Unfortunately, we don't get a guidebook. And that's the spiritual piece of what life is for me. My story is my own discovery, what's inside that needs to come outside. I couldn't find that what's inside with alcohol. I tried weed. Weed did a great job of inspiring me, but not motivating me, and kept me still playing small. And it was the same behavior, same thing. Now, you could also say that with alcohol, with sex, with phone addiction, like sobriety, the name sobriety. I'm on my 3rd sobriety journey. This time it's on sugar. And it is just as powerful as me stopping drinking.
Well, yeah. I could go on and on about that, but that would be the next one.
Yeah, that'll be the next one. But thanks for getting on here. This was good.
I had one more thought. Got 2 more minutes?
Yeah, let's go.
Who is on the council of elders that someone needs to see when they come in here, because they're such a baller in their own life that they're not going to just listen to anybody? But whoa, wait a second. There's like an advisory board of incredible people that collectively have, and they're going to care about the numbers. There's over $1 billion worth of economic impact in Middle Tennessee on this advisory board.
100%.
I will absolutely come to the monthly gauntlet of whatever we call it, of like sit down and let these people look at what I'm doing. That is so valuable. Who are those people?
Yes. I mean, you fell right into my. This is the whole reason I brought 8 decisions together.
Because a culture and a tribe has to have its elders.
Yeah, and because we're looking for answers from wisdom.
Yeah.
And we're going to these people and say, listen, well, that's why there's judges in society, because we got to stand in front of a judge and say, hey, he says this and I say this. I don't know the answer,
but
I need
hero
help.
is the customer, right? Obviously, we know that. And the hero's journey, the very first thing that happens is you get some kind of an injury, or the normal world is disrupted, and you immediately meet the guide or the mentor. So I think if there was a if it was known that there's a group of mentors that are going to guide the hero, that customer, that member of this culture and community through their journey, I think that attracts people because they need that, especially when they're the top dog in their organization. They have their own office. Why would they come to a place like this?
Yes, of course.
Well, of course, like the Entrepreneur Center has their mentors, but this is different. This is like very different.
So far different that your head would spin.
Yeah. And I've spent a fair amount of time there and I love what they're doing there, but this is not the same thing. Who are the mentors here?
Yeah.
And I think that's an open question that is worth spending some time on.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that. And that's another podcast.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. We're
Thanks.
going to do this
again.
again.
That was fun. Yeah. See you in an hour.